This is William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to another episode of Rumor Report. This week, we'll be discussing the LGBTQ celebration, Rise Up with Pride, here at William Patterson University.
We have a student representative to tell us more about the importance of these events.
And of course, we have our game of Celebrity Catch-Up. We also got an inside look with students' info at the Queer Prom at WP.
So stay tuned. I'm Juwon, and welcome back to another episode of Rumor Report. This month, William Patterson held Rise Up with Pride. The event celebrated the LGBTQ community here at WP. To give me some insight, I have the student chairperson of the LGBTQ Celebration, Matt Diaz. Now, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for anyone who doesn't understand here on campus, what is this whole celebration event?
Sure. So our school actually does different celebrations events for different groups on campus. We are actually in our Latinx Heritage Celebration. We also have a Black History Month and a Women's History and Asian Cultural. So this is just one of those celebrations that we have, but specifically for LGBTQ students and identities.
And for you, when did your involvement with this sort of begin?
I started my sophomore year. Since sophomore year, I've actually been the student chair for the committee for the celebration for the past 3 years now. So
you're doing it all.
Now,
Now,
I try.
Now, from my understanding, you played a part in how it ran this year. Mm-hmm. How does that feel, sort of putting this all together? What's the process?
So there's a lot of background stuff. There's a lot of work that goes on in the behind the scenes before we have the actual celebration. Mm-hmm. We meet during the summer, and we meet with students and faculty on campus to talk about what events we want to have, what theme we want for the celebration. And the student clubs and organizations are really the ones that are majority should be bringing events so we can have these events happening on campus and stuff.
Oh, so you're not doing this last minute?
No.
Like me and my
No, definitely, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that happens, a lot of paperwork and a lot of stuff, but.
Oh, geez, I don't know how you do it. But so it's really dependent on the organizations on campus who want to help them.
Yeah, it's because unfortunately we don't have a huge funding for each celebration. Mm-hmm. SGA, the Student Government Association, they allocate a budget for each celebration. Mm-hmm. And then besides that, if you really want programming and different events to happen during that, student organizations really have to program the events, create them, get funding for them. So
here I'm
really,
thinking y'all just slap stuff on the table.
Yeah, no,
this is what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, no, exactly. We have some funding to provide for maybe an opening or closing or something like that. But for the rest of the 2 weeks or however long that we have for each celebration, it's really heavily dependent on student organizations to create the events.
So for you personally, what events stood out to you that you really enjoyed?
I think for me, I really enjoyed our opening celebration. We had YouTuber Stephanie Frosch, also known as LO Steph, and she came.
That was a nice plug right there.
Yeah, and she came and talked about her experiences with coming out and how she used YouTube as her platform to through activism and speaking about being a lesbian and stuff like that. But what really tied it all together for me was the ending part of the event where she and I both led a mini march outside in Zamfino, which was really awesome.
And so for you, from your own personal experience, how has this any sort of way helped you with your own self-empowerment?
I think for me, I seeked a community on campus, and I also seeked more programming and more events for LGBT students to really be seen and heard on campus. And a lot of that has been troubling to really be seen and be visible. And so my goals were to work on this committee and this celebration so I could help students feel validated. I think one of the things that touched me the most is when we had Stephanie Frosch here, I had a student come up to me and they were like, we haven't had someone who identifies as a lesbian in so long, and they were like, I finally felt validated and seen. So it's stuff like that shows that this is really important and why we do this.
And it matters.
Yeah.
I think if there's one thing I appreciate about this campus from what I've seen from organizations like what you're part of is that there's sort of there's a voice for everyone. Yeah. And we're getting into a place right now, especially in the current political climate we're in, where those sort of voices are trying to be silenced. Mm-hmm. But I guess for you going forward, what do you want to see coming after this?
I think for me, what I hope to see is that there's more student engagement. I think one of the things that we do struggle with is, especially with the LGBT celebration, is getting enough students participating in it. A lot of the times it ends up being a few students and a majority of faculty members. And while that's great to show faculty support, I mean, these are for students and students should be engaged really. So my hopes are that going forward that more students get involved on this.
Show up.
Yeah.
Who's trying to cry and watch Love, Simon with me, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I just appreciate you coming through. I mean, I think it's if there's anything to take from this, from any students that are sort of watching, if they want to show up and participate in these sort of events, if they want to at least be a part of this organization, is there any way they can go about that?
Yeah, I mean, for two things. When I started my sophomore year being on the committee, I wasn't part of any clubs. I said I wanted to be a part of this celebration, and I did. I put myself out there. And I may not have had funding from different clubs to help provide events, but I helped in other ways. There's so much more that you can do.
To make sure your impact's felt.
Exactly, and I'm also the president of a new club on campus, so getting involved in our clubs. We have 2 clubs. We have
Plug
our
after plug. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm about to link you on everything.
We have our Pride Alliance, which is the club that we've had for a while now, and they're really great. Club for students on campus, and then the club that I founded on campus is the Intersectional Queer Association.
You need to at me on this today.
Yes,
And
at IQA.
There we
sure.
go. But you know what? Thank you, Matt, for
You're
just
welcome.
sharing with us the success of Rise Up with Pride event. Don't go anywhere because up next we have a game of celebrity catch up with our girl Anna. Now I'm telling you.